I think banking is by far the most sexist industry. It took me a lot of deals to prove to them, these mystery people that sit at credit, that I am capable of doing what I've been doing for 15 years.
Wow.
And that's why I started saying, screw you guys, I'm going to do all hard money. And that's what I did.
3, 2, 1. All right. Today we have Amanda Sokol. If you don't know Amanda, just go on LinkedIn. She's probably the most famous, I don't know about most famous, next to Barbara Corcoran, right? Next most famous real estate personality on LinkedIn. She's an absolute killer. She's amazing at finding off-market, direct-to-seller, large multifamily commercial investment opportunities. She's raised a ton of money for ground-up construction opportunities. She owns 300 plus units, right? And not for nothing, she is a single mom of 2 beautiful kids. She's an absolute monster and an inspiration. Amanda, thank you so much for making it on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
We're pumped about this. If you wanted some insight into how famous Amanda is on LinkedIn, she posted about us getting a reservation for her in Miami. And that day, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh yeah, sure. That day, I got 400 LinkedIn requests.
Holy crap.
I was like, what is going on? And people are messaging me can you get me reservations? Oh. I'm like, this isn't what I do, guys. I do real estate. It was absolutely crazy. So no, it's a pleasure.
My last post, I think, got it was 500,000 views or something.
Impressions?
Yeah, impressions, whatever.
That's insane.
I still call them my friends. Well, I don't know. What are they called on LinkedIn? They're not your friends.
Connections,
yeah.
yes.
500,000.
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was so crazy. It got 2,000 likes.
What?
And yeah.
What's the secret?
It was so, and it was a picture of the house that I'm going to sell. And it was just about a story about how I bought this one house at a sheriff's sale for $51,000 and how it appreciated. And basically I was stay in your lane. That's where I started. But I am coming back and doing deals like that again because that's what makes the most sense right now. And for some reason, I didn't even think people would read it because it was long. But yeah, I got bombarded with messages and people trying to give me money and I'm I'm just not set up for that. You know what I mean? So it was a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And totally unexpected.
I read that post. It was really good advice. Once
Thanks.
you start getting outside your comfort zone, trying to, the shiny object comes in, that's when things start to go bad. But you could make a ton of money at stuff that you're already good at.
I made so much money with single families. You can take them, rent them out. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I feel I can make more doing that than right now I'm trying to do a deal, which I actually just got the terms from the partner today. And I was like, what's the point of owning 5% of this building when I, for whatever value that is, when I could buy, 5 single families for that. So I don't know. I guess it depends.
But
yeah.
that's how you started, right? You started with single family?
Yeah, so I started in single family. So I actually bought, my first deal was my triplex I lived in college. I did seller financing, and I just had a horrible landlord who didn't want to be a landlord. And it was West Philly, so at the time wasn't really the nicest place on earth. And so he seller financed it to me, and that was my first deal. And then I moved to South Jersey and bought single families. And during that time period, it was the crash from 2008. So you could get a single family home around me for 50 to 70 grand. And it needed work, right? I remember one I bought for 42,000. And I would go to the sheriff's sales and I'd buy them there. But I would just renovate them and rent them out. So I tried to stay all in for 100,000. And then the rent would be anywhere from probably $1,300 to $1,600. And so they would cash flow $400 a month per house. And I'd refi, I'd get all my money back.
Wow.
And plus some. So each deal usually I'd get anywhere from between 10 and 20,000 on the refi. I've refied them like 4 times.
No way.
I just
Tax
keep
free
doing
money.
it. Yeah, it is.
I'm curious. So obviously I know what seller financing is,
Yeah.
but for those that don't, what is seller financing and what were the terms of the seller financing that you had
I
on
don't
if you remember on that first deal?
I don't remember. It was so long ago.
You were a college student?
Yeah.
Yeah, how the hell did you even figure out seller financing as a student?
So
Did you have a real estate background?
No.
No.
So I worked at the sheriff's office typing the sheriff's deeds.
Oh, no way.
So like I would always talk to those guys. They're all investors.
Right.
And I would like ask, and he was just a bad landlord. Like didn't do any upkeep on the place, and it was just a mess. And like I think my portion of the rent was like $200 maybe. Like
No.
that just kind of shows you what it looked
What?
like. Yeah, I had a guy that would sleep on the front porch. Like this is like West Philly, like 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So he just wanted to unload it. So I didn't have any money, but I was like, I'll buy it. And he was like, all right, like we came to some sort of agreement. I honestly don't remember what it was, but it was like nothing. I think it was like 150,000 maybe less. And
It was a triplex?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were the other tenants like?
It was 36 in Spring Garden. They were all college students.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to Drexel, so it was my my like college apartment basically.
Right.
So yeah.
You know what? You have such a crazy story. It would be nuts for us not to hear it. Can you just kind of walk us through your journey in life and how you ended up in real estate?
Yeah, so so I bought that when I was in college. Then my ex-husband is a real estate attorney. So he does foreclosure prevention. So short sales, deed and lose, all that stuff. And he got really busy and needed help. So I started working for him. And I got a lot of deals that way because like deals would fall apart and people would be like, what am I going to do now? I got to like relist it. Or when they did short sales, they would do like a pre-approved price. So I already knew what the bank wanted. And some of them made sense. So I would buy some deals that way. And it just kind of fell into place. Like
This is like 08-ish?
this is after 08. So this is like 2010, 2011. This is like when I bought most of them, like 2010 to probably 2016. And then after that, like single family started going through the roof. But that was really how I started like gaining momentum. And then I kind of started networking through the law firm with more people so that like, more investors and stuff. And I just kept doing it. And really it was my job to lose money because I was offsetting his income. So I wasn't really trying to make anything. It was my goal was to make it so that we had depreciation and, write-offs. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really even make money until my divorce. And then, until 2020, I guess.
Wow.
But, yeah. So then I had a whole bunch of tenants. So then I got all these tenants and COVID happens. And I had all these people that just stopped paying.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
still had to like pay their mortgages and stuff. So I started brokering loans. And I did debt and equity. And that's how I started doing that I could actually make money instead of lose money.
That's crazy. So your back's against the wall, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You have, 80 tenants at the time?
Mm-hmm.
And how many are paying?
Like most of them were paying. There was like probably about 5 that weren't. But the 5 that weren't paying didn't pay for so long. So one went on like a cross-country trip. Another went to Disney with his whole family. I'm like, that must be nice. Like, you haven't paid your rent. Like, there was nothing you could do. Like, in Jersey, you couldn't get people out.
Yeah.
And like, there was programs, but, like, they had to apply for the program.
Uh-huh.
And, like, they're like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And they would use the money, but I don't know what they did with their money. But they weren't paying their rent for, like, 2-3 years.
Wow.
There was nothing I could do about it. The courts were closed.
Yep.
So it was really rough. So I was able to like broker loans, which in COVID was so hard because I'm sure as you guys know.
It was impossible.
Yeah, like I had a hotel. I remember the one deal in Atlantic City during COVID. That was like my first deal.
There's no way you got that done.
I got financing on it.
How?
They never billed it though, but I did get it. So
What?
yeah, and it was like this weird bank out of like Las Vegas or something. Celtic
If
Bank.
if you gave me
Is
like,
that it?
what's the hardest deal to get done in COVID, I would say hotel in
Yes.
Atlantic City. Never going to happen.
I'm not. So I went to work for my friend, and he was like, "Listen, you're like, he was like, you're going to hear 1,000 no's. You only need one yes. And I was like, all right, like I can do this.
Yeah.
And I must have called every lender on the planet. Like there was one that would do it. That was it.
Oh my
was
God.
Yeah, it was awful.
But you
It
got
was
it
so
done.
bad. Yeah, I did. But they never built it. I actually saw him recently in Atlantic City. And I was like, do you ever build that hotel? And he's like, no.
But he took the financing.
No, so it never like went through. It never closed. But I did get it, but no. Yeah, he didn't do it.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. It would have been a good story. Now it's like I got it, but it didn't happen.
I helped build that building
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
All right. So then I guess, you're brokering loans. That's supplementing your income. And then,
Yeah.
then you start doing bigger stuff.
Yeah, and I started doing equity too. So I was like, oh, I can get 2 points on equity and a point on debt. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to do both. Then I get to do the whole thing.
Right.
And then it's like 3 points. So that's why I started doing equity. And then I started seeing as a broker, like, you get everybody's PFS, right? And I'm like, wait, like I have more like properties than these people. I have more experience than these people. I can do this myself.
Right.
And I think that's like really what changed me was realizing like you think like real estate developer, you think like they're like, at least I did, right? They're like they have millions of dollars in the bank. And they're like, I don't know. I think it was like what I thought. Mm-hmm. And then I realized like, this isn't what I think at all. Like they have, some of them have barely any money. And I'm like, really trying to sell them to the bank. And I'm like, I think they can do this.
Seems like it.
Yeah. I don't know. They kind of built something like this before. Like we're in student housing and now they're trying to build like, some industrial complex. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, so after that, then I was like, oh, so I'm going to start like doing bigger stuff. And that's kind of where I got the inspiration.
To start segueing into finding
Like,
off-market multifamily deals.
Yeah.
Larger ones.
Yeah. So then I have like all these relationships from just being in real estate forever. So from being a broker, then from raising the equity, you get to know like a lot of like, family offices and stuff. And I have a lot of friends that are in real estate just from, I feel like when you're in real estate, you attract real estate people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like all my friends are in real estate. And then they would come to me and they'd be like, hey, like I have this deal. My grandmom left me and, do you know anybody that'll buy it or would you buy it? And I'm like, no, but I'm sure I can find you somebody. And that's when like, I don't really call that many people, maybe I call like 5 people that I know. And then if I can't find anybody that way, I'll put it on LinkedIn. And believe it or not, I've sold deals that way. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know how, but it's a very powerful thing.